Okay, so here we are, a 2003 Porsche Boxster S. I have no idea whether or not this will be a success or if I'll ever use this video, but I'm going to attempt to remove these manifold studs. I don't know if you can see them there, get some light in. This one here at the rear, I'm not sure if it's just sheared or if it's been stripped, so it might need a helicoil. These have been soaking now in PB Blaster for the last 2 or 3 days. This one here, where the actual headers come back to the cats, I did this last year and that was a nightmare of a job. In the end, it took me probably a good 2 days and an air chisel. They are splined in from the back, so where you see the nut on the outside, on the original ones, there's no head on the bolt. It's a press fit splined stud, and the amount of corrosion on it was ridiculous. Over on this side we've got a similar scenario. I'll get some light in there. These have been on for God knows how long. Again, all this is the PB Blaster, so it should be very nice and smoky when I start it up. So initial plan is going to be take it easy, see what it feels like with a big breaker bar, and then from that I'll probably move to an air impact driver and see what that does. And I'll do all this cold first and see if I can get any movement. If not, I'll maybe warm the engine up and see if heat helps. If not, then we go for a torch option. So more later. Okay, so time for an update. Here's the offending articles. This was the one that had the stud sheared on here originally, and I thought I could hear a blow, which is obviously looks like it was. There's the gasket. That's the block side. That's the actual manifold side. So hopefully that's the blow sorted. Actually, they all came out, the ones that weren't sheared, reasonably okay. Not so lucky on this side. 2 sheared, and they were actually there each end, of course, just to be awkward. So what did I do? Breaker bar, tried it, just felt like too much force was needed, so I abandoned that. I got the impact gun and I set it on the lowest torque setting. I'm not sure what that is, but it's actually pretty low because it'll just sit there and spin, but just use that with the extension and the 1/2-inch impact driver. And basically, so this is the actual left hand side. Looks a bit dirty, but that'll all clean up. There's one of the broken studs, and the other one is that end there, if you can see it. So I think that should clean up nicely. Some steel wool or something, polish it off, get it nice and clean, degrease it. On the right hand side here we have the original offending article, that one there, and the rest of them. So actually didn't turn out to be as bad as I had expected. All knuckles are intact, which is a good thing. So that seemed to do the job. Basically I just put it on, let the impact stuff do its work. Didn't stay on it too long, moved from one to another. If I felt it get warm or if there was any heat building, I just moved on, because that should be an indication the bolt was stretching a little bit. Moved to another one. I just kept working around. Unfortunately 2 sheared, and the rest came out. So yeah, clean it up and try and put it back together, I suppose. Other jobs that are going to be tackled here is I'm going to replace these sleeves because they are probably not great. I figured when I was at it. Cats are good. You can see that on top. I did that last time when I did the actual, when I did the flanges. So we will see what happens. Okay, so we have the car back up in the air and some safety carriages in place, but this is what we're going to tackle today. That bolt there, I don't know if you can see it, it's probably sheared off about 6 mil, it's reasonably flat. That one there has less on it, so those two sheared when I was taking that manifold off. Over on this side then we have the original one where I suspect the blow was a bit of a shadow there, but you can see it. Fortunately that one up there came out pretty easily. I was worried about that one just because of the housing of the stat and whatnot, or the water pump, I'm not sure, which I think is the stat was possibly in the way, but either way it's out. So we have these. So how are we going to tackle that? Well, we're going to tackle it with a jig. Now, you may be wondering what the Stomski Racing jig is. Oh, this is it, if you can see it here. Of course, coming from the States, they put it in a gun case, which is lovely. Thankfully, it wasn't checked or stopped, and I didn't end up in jail, which is always a good result. Basically, it's a anodized metal jig, really, highly accurately machined. You can see here it comes with various drill bits and collars, etc., etc. So these are hardened steel from when we're really drilling. This is a pilot drill here. So essentially you line that up and you see the way it's actually, I don't know if you can see that there, but it's let's see if we can get that to focus maybe. There's an actual, yeah, you can see the shoulder there. It's actually stepped, so it sits over the broken bolt, centers perfectly on it. Then you actually use these two here with these, which are also highly accurately machined. So essentially you're centering this entire fixture closest to the broken bolt or stud, depending on what it is. You get your pilot hole, well, basically you just drill an initial indentation to get the drill started. You take out that one because it's just mild steel, put in one of the hardened drill bits and go for broke. So you drill through with that one. I can't remember the size of it. I could actually write it in the link or something. Initially all the way through. Be careful to measure so you don't drill into the water jacket or go too deep. Once that's done, you swap the collar to another one and you go to this one, which essentially is perfectly matched to drill out the bolt. It's sized in US sizes, so it essentially leaves the male part of the thread of the bolt in the female thread in the block. Sorry, forgetting what I'm saying. In the block. So if you do it right, do it accurately, take your time. It's just a case then of pulling out the swarf and you literally end up with a clean thread. Maybe just lightly run a tap to clean anything that's in it and the job is a good one. So there we have it. So that's the plan for probably the next day or so to get those drilled out and sorted and get her back on the road in June. A few other jobs to do, but to be honest, it didn't do much mileage last year, so there's not a whole lot needed. Okay, so here we have the jig fixed in place. That's where we're going to use that stainless steel guide to get the pilot hole dimpled. Hopefully it'll start off with a lot of oil on that. I think it's an O2 sensor, I need to clean that. Locked down with the thumb wheels. I don't know if we'll be able to see, but if I can get back in here, you can see how well it actually centers up on that other broken stud. So in theory, this should actually all work out okay. Okay, so brief update. I don't know if we can actually see that. There is, yeah, okay, that'll work. The first phase of drilling done, looks pretty much centered on, kind of hard to see it with the camera, with the 3/16, but looks dead centered. So now we swap over to the next hardened steel guide, which is this one. I don't know if we can read that, focus, probably won't focus. There you go, 17/64. So we're going to pop that up in there. It's sitting against the actual remainder of the bolt that's there. I'll snug it up and we'll start drilling. This one we're going to have to be careful with because as we cut it's going to have to compress. I'm not sure how that will work, whether it's better to just take it out and reset it each time or just keep going with it, but we shall see. Okay, finished drilling out and have removed the jig. I don't know if we'll be able to get in there or if we'll be able to see it, but you can actually see the threads look fairly intact. I'll see if I can clean it out. I mean, at worst it's just going to require a run of a tap up through it. No need for a helicoil or anything like that, so looks like it's successful. Other side, I think I just had a look. For that one though, this depth here is going to be a problem. So I'm probably going to have to get a longer bits or figure something out for that because the clearances there are quite tight. So we shall see. I'm really quite pleased with that. It actually worked out really good, I have to say. Here's a stud and it literally just no problem. All I did was just ran the tap up inside it just to clean out any swarf that might have been left, and it's pretty much perfect. So yeah, well worth it. Slow process. Drilling with the 3/16 is quite slow. The larger bit goes through pretty quick. Just got to make sure you get your depths right, that you don't actually drill through. I've just checked that one there and that is definitely a problem, so I need to order longer bits for that. Friday again, time for another brief update. Hopefully this will focus. This was the second broken stud. I'm going to try and hold this and zoom in. This was a pain to get out, but that is it after just running a tap through it. Bit of a pain to drill there because clearance isn't great. We've got this part of, I don't know, the top half of the block comes down, it interferes with a drill here, it makes it awkward. On the other side we have this other one. I'm going to try and pan back up here if I can. That was the first one that was drilled out there. So 2 on that side is good, no tapping required. Probably just needs another little bit of a clean up just to make sure that get all that off there, that the gasket is good. And then over on this side we have the last remaining one to deal with here. So again, this should prove interesting. So here we have the jig actually in place. It's up, secured. Murphy's Law being what it is. The one that was originally broken when I bought the car day one was this one, and this is where I was having the slight blow from the exhaust. Well, at least I hope it's there. It appears to be there. It's very, very faint, but just a little bit annoying. The whole theory behind this jig is that it is machined accurate. This collar here is actually machined on the opposite side to the exact diameter of the broken bolt. So it's used to center over the couple of millimeters that are actually left out of the block. So you center that up and then you secure it with these other 2 collars here. So what you are is you're getting a perfectly lined up center on the bolt that's broken in the block to start drilling. Now, one of the issues with the kit, and it's a minor one, but I didn't know it at the start, is it's probably worth having a look. Let me see if I can adjust the camera. Is the space. So here's the drill. If I go up, I've got interference here. Don't know, can you see that? But I'm basically, this here is interfering with the bit going in centered. So to get around that, we have two options. Either we get a much longer drill bit, which in Ireland is not so easy. I have some here. I will come back to them in more detail. They're not quite the right sizes. You can see there, that's what they should be. Because we're not in the States, we're stuck with metric. So we have this here. It's from Amazon. It's not great, not very robust, but it does let me get the drill in and get it square. So I'm not actually leveraging, pulling it off center, and knowing my luck, end up breaking the actual bit inside the bolt, which would be a catastrophe. So going to set up, going to start drilling. It's going to be a slow process. There'll probably be a couple of cups of coffee. To drill one of these out, based on past experience, taking my time, you're probably talking an hour to 2 hours. There's no point in rushing this. You're not going to do it quickly. So just take your time, do it right. Don't break the bit. Take breaks, because it's a little bit awkward working up underneath. So hopefully that will help some hardship for some people. So the end is in sight. We're going to start putting it back together. The next time, hopefully all going well, will actually be a video of it running. A few bits of info. So this is the actual M8 bolts. They come in packs of 10 from Porsche. They are 28 millimeters long. Nothing special about them. What might be of interest is that the distance that they protrude into the casting, the aluminium on the engine, is around 17 millimeters. That might be help if anybody's drilling out to set the depths. So what I've got here, I've got some new gaskets to go on. I'm also going to try this. I'm not sure how it's going to work. I'm not going with copper slip. This is a ceramic high temperature grease. I don't know if we can see that there, but it's actually rated for 1500 Celsius. It's inert, so in theory there should be no electrolytic or galvanic corrosion. It should act as an insulator. Don't know how good that's going to work, because I guess most of the material will probably be squeezed out between the threads as I torque up the bolts. But we'll see. Anything that makes it easier to get back out or not break a bolt, I'm game to try, so somebody else doesn't have to. What else have we got going on then? New clamps for the U-bins to go onto the back box, muffler or silencer, whatever you want to call it. I've also got in here, because Porsche give you spare parts in a bag, isn't that cool? I've got, what have we got? These are the 3 bolts for the manifold attached to the cats. In the original system, these actually go in this way, so they come in from the cat side. They're well, on this car, which is a European one, they were splined studs, so they were press fit on the cat side, and the nut was on this side. They were a nightmare to remove the last time I did the job. So we have 6 of them, and we have, where have we got? This here is the gaskets that go between the manifolds and the cats on the other side. So hopefully, actually, I suppose let's have a look. So that's the part number for the exhaust manifold gasket. That's the part number for the manifold to cat gasket. Can I get the part number here for the, don't know if you can see that or not, but there's the part numbers for the manifold to block bolts. This is the part number for the bolts for the reassembly of the cats to the manifold. Where's the nuts are here as well. There's no nuts, nothing on them. Okay, so much for that. This is, I don't know if you can see that. This is the part number for the sleeve that joins the U-pipe to the actual cats, and this is the part number
for the clamp that clamps the U-pipe into the muffler, silencer, back box, whatever you want to call it. So there we go. Hopefully it should go back together pretty quick, and I think for the laugh I'll actually fire it up without the muffler connected to see what a flat six sounds like with no silencer, straight piped with just the cats in line. So fingers crossed we don't have headaches. Let's see what happens. And just because we can, I'm going to fire it up without the back box connected. So we're literally straight from the block through the headers and out the cats. So straight piped flat six. We're about 3 meters back, about level with the exhaust. I'm going to start it up, going to let it idle for a moment. I'm going to take it up to about 3,000 RPM once or twice and shut it down. There you go, straight piped flat six. It's all buttoned back up. The U-bins are back in. They actually slipped in quite easily. I think that was just a bit of luck by giving them a clean with some sandpaper, making sure they were smooth, there was no corrosion. So all that went back pretty easy. So this is a start with everything hooked up. I can't hear a blow. It runs pretty nice. It's just interesting to hear the comparison now that the muffler or silencer or back box or whatever you want to call it is all connected back up compared to what it was like yesterday without anything hooked up. Okay, well, the job is finished. Everything is back together. It's been started up and tested. No leaks. I'll do a quick run in and let's see what we can see. So here we have the nice new bolts in the manifold. No brakes. New bolts here. Ceramic grease on all threads. Hopefully that will make life easier. Driver's side, don't know if we see there. So everything is in, all no leaks, no blows. It had new OS2 sensors last year, so new clamps there, which makes that job much nicer again. To take the exhaust off, hopefully it'll all slip apart. Same over this side. So yeah, it's done, finished. Took a long time, not an easy job. Not one I would like to repeat. I'll tidy up now and put her down and prepare for the next job, because I'm going to put in a new water pump and thermostat now that we have that section of it done, and then we're on the road for the summer, hopefully, if we're not still in lockdown. So that's pretty much a wrap for this video, as they say in the trade.